Welcome to a brand new episode of The Collector, and hey, thanks for watching. A little background first. My name is Adrian, I come from Romania, but I am based in London, England at the moment. I have had a Romanian YouTube channel for the past 7 years, and I have tried to spread the joy of retro gaming, Nintendo and video gaming in general to a new generation. I know that here in the West people are more open to retro gaming and Nintendo, but back home that's not the case, only a few know about it. I want to continue my Romanian YouTube channel, but at the same time I will be making the same videos and post them here in English. So that means double the fun for me. Film the video twice and edit twice. Yay! I will also be refilming and posting some of my older videos, but at the same time I will be working for original content for this channel alone. I am not a native English speaker, so please excuse all the mistakes I will be making and bear with me. So welcome to the first episode of New Game Stuff, the series where I go over all the new gaming related stuff I have added to my collection. And let's just jump right into it because I've been talking for a while. And the first thing I want to show is this small envelope right here, which at the moment is empty. But this is an FX chip for the Arduboy. What is an FX chip and what is an Arduboy, you ask? Arduboy is a credit card gaming console developed with the help of Kickstarter, and it's an open source video game console where even you, if you have coding experience, you can code and make your own video game and use it yourself and also post it on the internet for everyone to enjoy. The FX chip is a very tiny chip that you're supposed to get and implant into your Arduboy. You will need soldering skills, and I don't recommend it if you don't have them. This was my first project using a soldering iron. It was quite difficult. I have filmed the whole thing and I will make a video and post that as well. But if you do want your own, the people from Arduboy make this thing with the chip already inside, so you don't have to go over all this thing where you have to buy the chip and solder it in yourself. Why did I do that? Because when I bought the Arduboy, the chip was not invented yet, so now I have to get it and put it inside. What does the chip do for the Arduboy? It gives it a flash memory which you can put a lot of video games, more than a few hundred video games directly on it. Up until now it only supported one game at a time, but that was easy to change. But it's really nice to have all of them here at the same time. And let me just show you a little bit what I'm talking about. You just power it up and you have the system right here, and the games are in categories, as you can see: action, adventure, arcade, runners, and so on. And I just want to show one game that I thought that was really nice for an 8-bit system, black and white like this. The ingenious of the developer can make a game really fun. So one will be something like this one that will be really good. So this is just a juggling game where you have to jump from one to another, but the way they implemented this is so nice. And another one I would like to show you that's still done well is this simple run and kick game. So this was done probably without knowing too much code, but the other one was done by someone who had a good experience into knowing how to implement the power of this console. The Arduboy is such a great device, and it's so easy to carry it around you in your wallet. It's the best device, the best gaming device to have when you are on a long tube ride. And if you would like to get your own, I will be putting a link into the description of this video. And the next item that has been added to my collection is the new Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch, and I have to tell you, this thing is amazing. Back in the old days we had the original Game & Watch series, which predated the Game Boy. There were simpler times back then. You didn't have as much graphics and as much action as today, but the games were still fun. And as the name suggests, it also functions as a clock. Fast forward to 2020 and we have the new Super Mario Nintendo Game & Watch, which has one of the original Game & Watch games on it, which is Ball, where you have to kind of like juggle some balls around. But Nintendo has also included Super Mario Bros. 1 for the NES and Super Mario Bros. 2 for the NES, which was released in Japan and was not released in Europe at that time because Nintendo thought here in the West we're all a bunch of pussies and we cannot take a difficult game. What we got in return was a game called Doki Doki Panic, which was taken, was reskinned, and was sold to us as Mario 2. The game was released later on as Super Mario Bros. The Last Level, but this is the original version of Super Mario Bros. 2. I mean, the game is so good and so timeless that even by today's standards it holds up amazingly. And the Game & Watch is such a great device to experience the game on, and as the name mentions, this also functions as a clock. A Mario themed clock. You just have to keep it plugged in, otherwise it will just go dark after 3 minutes. But I also want to show you what they did with the packaging. So as you can see, the sleeve is colored and you take away the Mario that they added, and this is the original case for the Game & Watch, and that's the game ball. But then when you put the color sleeve on, it shows that it also has Super Mario. Nintendo is kind of like a crazy genius here, where they do all this tiny little stuff that collectors and guys that love video game and Nintendo will definitely appreciate all these nicks and knacks. And moving forward to the next item to be added to my collection is Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I love this game franchise and I also have almost all of them in my collection. The story is 100 years before the Calamity struck. I played the demo thinking this was just gonna be another mindless hack and slash like the old Hyrule Warriors, but it was not. Even though it's a Dynasty Warrior-like game, this time it has been polished and the story elements are so good integrated. This game is amazing and I recommend it to not just fans of the Zelda franchise. And because I had this game pre-order from Nintendo, my pre-order was upgraded and now it came with lots of other Zelda goodies. And the first thing it came with is this envelope that has these cards of, these are the backs, and the characters you will be playing inside the video game. These are really nice and I think they'll be going in my shelf or on somewhere on my wall. And the other thing it came with is this Zelda themed notepad, and it's just like a blank math notepad, but it's really nice and maybe I can use this to catalog my my collection, which is quite substantial. And thirdly, it came with a Legend of Zelda poster, and let me just show you this because I think you will enjoy seeing this one as well, which is a really nice Age of Calamity Link and Zelda poster. And I think I need to frame this and put it somewhere on my wall. I don't want to just like put it directly on my wall and kind of like tape it on my wall, because I don't want to damage this poster, so I will first need a frame for it. And the next Nintendo Switch game that is joining my collection is Abe's Odyssey New and Tasty. And I'm really happy to see this game come to the Nintendo Switch, as it was exclusive to PlayStation 3 and 4, and I don't own a PlayStation 4 and a PlayStation 3 because back when the console wars started between Sony and Microsoft, I was an Xbox kid ever since the Xbox 360, so I went with an Xbox on. So I kind of missed out on all the PlayStation exclusives, but it's never too late, so now it might be time to go back and experience some of the games that I've been missing out on. But yeah, I'm very happy to see Abe's Odyssey New and Tasty join Nintendo Switch library, and now I can experience this game. And next I want to show these cases for my Nintendo Switch games, and they're really nice because they're Mario and Zelda themed, and you probably want your games to keep in your cases, but for me I find that this is much easier, where you just go and you open a case and all your Nintendo Switch games are really easy to access. And they're also good to store some of your PlayStation Vita games. And also these are not just some cheap prints, they're like built in the case itself and in relief, so they're really nice build. But speaking of PlayStation Vita games, I have added this tiny game to my collection, which is Gravity Rush on the PlayStation Vita. I found it really cheap without a case, and I said why not? What do you guys think about this game? Have you played it? Is it nice? Was I right to get it, or should I have just like passed it? And I was asked by one of my subscribers what's the deal with this catalog that I have behind me, and this is just a free catalog that Nintendo sends if you are subscribed to their newsletter. Just something to show you what they can sell you. I have to admit it worked. And while we are talking about books, I just want to show this first issue of Yoko Kids, which is a small booklet with reviews for original Game Boy games. I love this type of reviews, and I love the Game Boy, so I said yes please. And I learned about this book by watching one of my favorite podcasts, which is a CU podcast, which is run by Pat Country and Ian Ferguson. And Ian Ferguson is a guy that helped, I think, with the producing of this book, or at least with some of the reviews. He has done some of the reviews with for the Game Boy games inside, and he is a really big Game Boy fan, and I appreciate that. I just want to see what another big Game Boy fan has to say about some of the games that I also love. And it came with this note inside. Thank you note from the guy. That's sweet. And moving forward, I want to show you what 3DS games I have added to my collection, and first is Monster Hunter Stories for the Nintendo 3DS, which is a really good way to get into the Monster Hunter lore and franchise, because if you know the games, they're really difficult, and because they don't have a story behind it and they don't follow like a simple generic game where you start and you go by a story, they're really difficult to get into. But Monster Hunter Stories is a different story, and it's much easier to get into, so I recommend this game. Plus, Monster Hunter Stories 2 has just been announced for the Nintendo Switch for next year, so now it's kind of the time to play this game and get ready for the second one. And the next game for the 3DS is Tetris Ultimate, and I know I probably have like a million ways to play Tetris, but I said why not on the 3DS also. Plus, if I know the 3DS games on it usually have like this nice twist which makes them enjoyable, so I said yeah, another way to play Tetris, why not? And moving to PlayStation 4, which I recently started collecting for, and like I said, I don't own a PlayStation 4 yet because I was an Xbox kid, but now recently I've started collecting video games for it because I will be getting a PlayStation 4 pretty soon. And what better way to start PlayStation 4 gaming than with, in my opinion, the best game for the platform, which is God of War, aka Daddy of War. And I have done my best to stay away from spoilers for this game. All I saw was a little bit of the trailer, and it was really difficult because this game was covered everywhere. But yeah, when it comes to games like these that I really enjoy and really love, I want to experience them on my own. I don't want them to get spoiled by someone playing it. And next for the PlayStation 4 I got Doom Eternal, which I pre-ordered from Amazon, and it came with this nice metal poster, which I think is pretty cool. And this game has a reversible cover, which I really like when games do stuff like this. This is the reversal cover which I am using, but it also has the original one, which is that one, but I think the reversed one is way cooler, so I will be using that one. I don't usually like first-person shooters, but there's something about Doom that I was always in love with this franchise ever since I discovered it way back. Even right now I am actually playing through Doom 64 on my Nintendo Switch, and I am enjoying that a lot. And this game will not be getting a physical copy for the Nintendo Switch, so I said, yeah, that's another perfect game to get for my future PlayStation 4. Oh, and why am I not getting a PlayStation 5 which can play PlayStation 4 games? Because I'm poor, and it's because I collect a lot and I spend all my money on this retro and current video games shit, and yeah, I lose a lot of my money there, so I can't afford a new PlayStation 5. I'll be getting an old PlayStation 4. And next on the list are these miniature micro arcade from Super Impulse. They are calling this the Micro Arcade series, and basically what they are games of the original arcades that are being ported, and now you can play them on these small credit card devices. One thing to be mentioned here is Super Impulse has bought the rights for this design from Arduboy. Arduboy originally only made their console, and they licensed Tetris and made an original Tetris card which has the original Arduboy system inside it. This, however, they have only bought the design of it, and the build and quality on this is not as nice as the original Arduboy or the Tetris card, but they're nice and they're collectibles, and they come with games like Missile Command, Breakout, Asteroids, Galaga, and so on. And as you can see, I got the free Atari volumes, which comes with 2 games each: Asteroids, Millipede, Centipede, Missile Command, Breakout, and Combat. But I also got Galaga, which is a timeless classic. And as you can see, these games are in color as opposed to black and white how the Arduboy is, but bear in mind this is just something that's not as good quality as the original Arduboy. But let's move on. So last but not least, I want to show you the Core Graphics Mini, which is what we got here in Europe, where in USA they got the TurboGrafx, and in Japan they got the PC Engine. We got PC Engine Core Graphics. They're basically the same thing. The TurboGrafx/Core Graphics is kind of like more of a niche audience, where Nintendo and Sega had the actual slice of the pie. The Core Graphics only had like maybe a little bit of the crust. I've heard bad stuff of the quality of the build of this console, but I've tried it and I can say I'm actually really pleased with the games that are on it and with the quality and how they play. So if you like to collect these mini consoles, I definitely recommend you should get the Core Graphics as well. But word of warning though, if you thought that Ninja Gaiden on the NES is difficult, then Ninja Gaiden on the Core Graphics is 10 times more difficult. So games on the Core Graphics, TurboGrafx are really difficult in comparison to the other platforms out there, but they're still fun, and I definitely recommend you need to have this in your collection. But that concludes the first episode of New Game Stuff, and also the first episode of my new channel. I will be posting some of my existing video that I have on my Romanian channel. I will be refilming and dubbing the parts that are in Romanian, and also I have tried at some point to do some English videos on that channel, so I will just be like porting some of them, but I will also be working on original content just for this channel, so please stay tuned. But that was it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, or at least show it to a friend.